Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to another week of urban management with me. We've after 9 weeks of case study introductions, we've had a very good mix of case studies across Indonesia, and according to the 11 themes, that were designated by me. But um, I'm pleased with how things have gone so far. Now, hang on, just let me turn on screen sharing for you. Hang on, why can't I? Why? Oh, there it is. Okay, good. I have turned on screen sharing permission for, I think, if I'm not mistaken, today is Amira's turn to present. Okay. Well, I'll give you the time and the screen is yours, and then after your presentation, we'll continue with a bit of discussion, and then I have some announcements. I have a bit of announcements to make to the class with regards to what we're going to do next, moving forward. So please, Amira, the time is yours.
Okay, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yep, audio is good.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, Mr. Prananda and friends. I am Amira, and I'd like to present my case study about the urban land management. Let me share the screen. Okay. Okay, so my case study is the case of land conversion in the Ciliwung watershed area, and I am Amira Kirena Novelia with student number 6. So I would like to remind you all about my case study area, about the Ciliwung watershed area. For the Ciliwung River, it has the length of 130 km. It flows through Bogor Regency, Bogor Municipality, Depok City, and DKI Jakarta, equipped with Katulampa to flow the water to irrigate agricultural land in Kedung Halang, Cibinong, and Cimanggis district. In the past, it used to be the center and transportation route. The name is Kastil Batavia, and the water also could be drank and not polluted. And even though not many historical items could be found due to changes by the development and other natural events, there are sweeping axes that could be found along the river. And the Ciliwung River is the beginning of Jakarta civilization, where a small port was built at the mouth of the river. And in the past, for the Dutch, maintaining the upstream of Ciliwung is the same as the maintaining the authority of the capital, namely Batavia or Jakarta. It indicates the importance and the influence of Ciliwung River. And on the contrary, this river started to bring flood after Indonesia's independence. So about the uh, the development direction of Ciliwung watershed area, from the spatial plan of DKI Jakarta, Bogor, and Depok, I have concluded these points, namely the infrastructure enhancement, like the drainage network and system, irrigation, reservoir, raw and drinking water, water management, river area management, and watershed area management. Protected area, it is considered as a protected area, and even the disaster-prone area in Depok and Bogor Regency, Cisarua protected forest area to maintain the water absorption at the Ciliwung River, also water resource conservation program, and the area also included in the irregular dense residential area that needs to be rejuvenated in Bogor City. And Ciliwung watershed area, the existing condition in the area So for the start, the area crosses several cities with high development of population and infrastructure that could be said by rapid development. And due to the rapid development, there are a lot of agricultural land conversion into built-up land. And because of that, reduction of water catchment happened. And due to the reduction of water catchment, it influenced the decrease of the quality of the area and causes flood, damage natural resources and biodiversity, and also erosion. And due to the mentioned factors, the Ciliwung watershed area and Ciliwung River is classified as the restored watershed carrying capacity and categorized in the first priority, which means this river should be restored and is not adequate anymore to fulfill the needs of the environment and the community. And for the methodology to identify the issue, from the problem and the news that I got, I conduct the root cause analysis to underline the problem statement. So the issue about the land conversion in the Ciliwung watershed area. So this is the photo of the difference in the last 20 years in the Ciliwung watershed area. The issue is very high land occupation in the protected forest area. Also the garbage pile along the watershed area. And according to a study in 2030, the area is projected to be covered with the settlement area. And in the last 20 years, there was a drastic changes. We could see that the orange area that used to be the green area is already turned into the settlement area, the black area. And in 2020, the forest area is 8%, while the remaining 92% becomes other uses or the built-up areas. And the next about the land ownership. The land owner, since the area has high occupation, there are two kinds of land ownership, state land and private land. State land consists of forest and water body, private land forest, water body, settlement, plantation, paddy field, bush, and empty land. And from the graph, we can see that the settlement ownership increased dramatically. And this settlement is mainly the slum settlement due to the high development intensity. Slum settlement area developed along the Ciliwung watershed area, and the slum doesn't have adequate infrastructure, causes erosion, and has narrowed the river bodies and other negative impacts. And why does this slum settlement happens? It is because the high population growth, and according to the Department of Transportation, the Jabodetabek's population growth is pretty high, namely 2.23% to 2.64% per year. And what is the government's effort? There are two, normalization and community empowerment. The normalization is like to restore the river function by building the concrete, and the issue in normalization is land acquisition, and because of that, the normalization agenda only went through 45% on its 5 years work. And the unfinished river normalization program causing the other floods. And this program considered not effective in preventing flooding in Jakarta, since the concretization and embankment will only accelerate the flow of water into Jakarta Bay, increase the burden on the canal mouth in Jakarta, and add other environmental issues like the death of the biodiversity and others. And for the community empowerment, it is pretty effective, like the vegetative rehabilitation of catchment areas on critical land, managing biological natural resources. And as the result, in November 2021, the water quality has reached level 2, meaning it is suitable for drinking water and allows for the breeding of aquatic biota. And to underline the problem statement, I conducted the cause analysis. And according to the analysis, from the land conversion in the Ciliwung watershed area, there are three branches caused by the expensive land house price in the urban area, high population density, and piling up garbage and From my analysis, I concluded that the root cause problem are the urbanization, rapid development, weak government institution, and low community awareness. So what's the implication? The uncontrolled development of building or project construction supports the increase of the value or price of lands in the urban area and resulting in slum settlements along the watershed area. Land conversion in the Ciliwung watershed area has narrowed the river area, resulting in reduced water absorption area and water catchment areas. So for the plausible solution, I took the best practice from the Madrid Rio project. The name is Urban Renewal Plan of Manzanares River Banks in Madrid, and in which this strategic process the rehabilitation and renewal of the private buildings and the dynamization of social and economic activities. And we can see from the before image, we could see that the traffic congestion with cars and the absence of greens, it is so gloomy. And the after is the park throughout the river with a lot of greens and more public space. So what is the project and what is the background? Just like the Jakarta metropolitan area, Madrid became the largest developed cities in Europe in 1970s. And rapid development such as multiple highways were built following Madrid in becoming the most developed cities in Europe. And the Manzanares river bank became neglected and degraded. So this river became distant from the community. And in 2004, this project was proposed to reconnect the river to the urban center by clearing multiple underground ways and reclaiming the natural landscape. And this project took 8 years to complete. And for the financing and resources, it is estimated total cost of 13,000 million euros with the payment in 30 years. It including operation, reform and burying, construction and maintenance. And the fund is from the public, private companies, and anti-crisis fund. And for the implementation, there are two phases, the Calais 40 project and Madrid Rio project. The first project is the preparation phase. It is the planning and construction of the supporting infrastructure, such as the urban tunnel and electrostatic filter ventilation system. So as we see in the before photo, the vehicle used to going through this way. So they built the underground tunnel to restore this area. And the second, they redesigned the new linear park along the Manzanares River bank. And there are five KPI, 5 parameters they have. The first one about the continuity measures, meaning the plans to facilitate the accessibility. Second, open spaces, plans to reforest and create a new canopy of trees by designating protected areas. The river, plans to make the river, the Manzanares River, more accessible by the bridge, the residential road, the green lines, piers, and pontoons. For urban services, plans to make equipment and public activities possible, such as sport facilities, educational, cultural events, and provide sanitary services. Also to refurbish and improve the existing facilities. And the last one, roads, to improve the road network, like post new signage, provide more pedestrian accessibility via sidewalks, and construct bicycle paths, and also add more parking area. So for the result and impacts from the project, this area has become the new icon that promotes the city's attraction with the full integration of the river with the community. So this area really connects the river with the community. It is already part of the community, and people really like going there because of the good environmental quality, but air quality and no traffic. And there are also cycle paths. If I'm not mistaken, there is 30 kilometer of cycle paths, sport fields, football field, and other fields, cultural event platforms, etc. And also they also have the drinking fountains, bicycle racks, walkways, and beautiful viewing points. So my proposed solution, I have 6 points actually. The first one, river normalization and river restoration in the Ciliwung River. River normalization is the effort to restore river functions as before based on the existing regulation. It begins with the eviction of residents living on the river banks, dredging the river, widening the river, and constructing concrete sheet piles on either side of the river bank. And also the impact of river normalization can be seen. We can see this change quickly, such as the environment seems to be more clean and more organized. This normalization, especially the construction of concrete, will only damage the environment, ecosystem, and more. So it must be accompanied by the river restoration, namely to repair the destruction of the river environment without compromising the needs of economic development and the social justice. And there are 5, namely hydrology restoration, ecology restoration, morphology restoration, socioeconomic restoration, institution and regulation restoration. And the second, river rehabilitation along the Ciliwung watershed area, which aims to repair the damage and restore the function of the watershed so that it doesn't cause further damage and lead to an even greater disaster. It consists of cleaning the river and the surrounding area, rejuvenating the land, conceptualizing the river to make it beautiful and natural again, and also tree plantation that could be done by the community. The third, community empowerment and community participation. It is the community by positioning the community as the catalyst in supporting the river rehabilitation program, like the environmental community or like uh, green earth community, something like that. Socialization and education regarding the river normalization, river restoration, and river rehabilitation program. So the community would know their part in the restoration of the river, training to increase their skills in improving the knowledge and business skills to increase the life of quality of the community participation in planning the watershed area, so the public needs and perspective could be presented thoroughly, so as the transparency of government and company parties. And the last, community participation in improving and maintaining the environment quality. The fourth, river banks settlement rejuvenation. This could be achieved through public utility and facilities improvement, arrangement of legal settlement or slums in the watershed area, relocation of the eviction victim in the flats or rusunawa in the Jabodetabek area. The arrangement of the legal settlement could be seen on the left picture. It is the example from Chodo River in Yogyakarta. And the right side is the example of Rusunawa. The fifth, about the public space construction along the watershed area. It aims to develop the integration between Jabodetabek cities and to build the connection with the surrounding residents. And it will be located the public space construction between the supposedly midfield area and the riverbank. It is in the yellow square area between the limit land and the blue open zone. The sixth, government internal improvements to develop the government's capacity, especially in monitoring the building use permits in Ciliwung watershed area. I propose this solution because there are a lot of misuse in the government's position. For example, there are a lot of swap to build a company or housing area in the protected area. So This could be achieved by clearing the task authorities between agencies to reduce the conflict of interest, well-coordinated state civil apparatus development in the local and the center government or the higher level of government, maintain the positive work environment, and also strict supervision in the implementation of the regulation. So this is my strategic plan. I have a vision with 5 missions and the strategies that I propose. My vision is the redevelopment of waterfront area with an organized settlement and protected area preservation. Why I use redevelopment instead of development? As this is the effort to revive the Ciliwung River supposedly function, the old waterfront functions, which are still used for the benefit of the community by changing some aspects or rebuilding existing facilities. So the function of the river is there and I would like to revive it. That's why I use the redevelopment. And there are 5 missions. The first, enhance the environmental and historical aspect of Ciliwung River quality. The environmental improvement officially will affect the space quality, river capacity, and river quality and its surrounding area. And while the enhancement historical aspect, considering this river has witnessed the development of the Jakarta Jabodebek area since 1,000 years ago, as I mentioned in the beginning, this river used to be the clean, even its water could be drank. So the historical part is more to the cultural and behavioral way about how we preserve this river as the colonies did before. And there are 4 strategies, namely thorough research on the river and environment, river normalization, river restoration, and river rehabilitation, increase communities awareness, and discipline maintenance of the Ciliwung River environment. The second, riverbank settlement arrangement. There are 3 strategies, namely relocation of illegal or the not supposed slum or settlement areas to the flat, Rusunawa, legal settlement rejuvenation, the one that are already have the right land use, it will be rejuvenated, and also the enhancement of public utilities. And the third, promote and expand public access to green public space development. There are 3, road infrastructure development to increase the accessibility, green space protection to maintain the remaining area, and green public space development. The next one, improve the socioeconomic quality of the community through 4 strategies, socialization and community participation in the planning process, community empowerment through training programs, support local communities and business like financial assistance and expert guidance in business or job training from the government. And also the last one, Gotong Royong program, as this is the Indonesia culture, the Gotong Royong, which means like cleaning the river together, maintaining the environment together, and like cleaning the drainage together. The last, control the urban development along the watershed area through 4 strategies, right on target land use and space utilization plan, by applying the digital system or online single submission, strict supervision and monitoring, and also regular review on the development. So about the urban waterfront concept, the definition of urban waterfront from Moretti in 2020 is the urban area in the direct contact with water. This is the illustration of the urban waterfront concept. Natural water components in cities plays a crucial role in establishing a balance between nature and social life in order to ensure a city's long-term viability. The attraction point of waterfront is mostly the visual landscape impacts of water on relaxation. The development of urban waterfront is often recognized as a new frontier in contemporary urban development, attracting both investment and attention. It also aided in the modernization of cities. By reviewing from my benchmark earlier, from the riverbank in Madrid, in which similar to the study phase, uh, as the area is surrounded by the vehicular road system, it's already been in Madrid case, it's already been replaced by the underground, and the available space has been redesigned as a large-scale system of green space. And from the case study, I conclude that the issue tackled from that are the weak environments, land and water quality, weak space quality, pollution, land use change, lack of social cohesion, and lack of access to service. Since waterfronts shape the natural and artificial boundaries of a city, they may also have disadvantage depending on their distance from the central urban areas, as the Ciliwung River is uh, crossing through several municipalities and cities. And to ensure the livability of the waterfront park, I think it is important that the accessibility is provided through the public facilities and various public transportation modes and the road infrastructure. And this is the map. The yellow one will be the riverbank settlement arrangement that used to be the slum and dense settlement area. And in the middle, with the white line, it has the environmental and historical aspect of Ciliwung River quality. And between that, the green public space development will take place. And also the other non-spatial steps, namely the improvement of socio-economic quality of the community and control the urban development along the watershed area. So it will be controlled thoroughly. And for the action plan, I have 4 main activities. The first one, restoring Ciliwung River function and relocation planning phase. The goal to provide comprehensive plan, restore the Ciliwung River environmental function and capacity, and plan relocation scenario to meet the public housing needs. It will be conducted in 5 years, and the stakeholder included the Department of Human Settlement, Spatial Planning and Land, Dinas Cipta Karya dan Tata Ruang, Environment and Forestry Agency, Regional Development Agency, and BUMN, or state-owned enterprises. The second, community participation commencement. The goal is to engage the community in river restoration programs, increase the community's welfare and community participation in protecting the environment. Also will be in 5 years. The stakeholder Department of Population and Civil Registration, Department of Human Settlements, Special Planning and Land, the private companies, the privates and MSME or UMKM. The third, waterfront area development phase, to develop the waterfront area by settlement arrangement and rejuvenation, extend green public space, and enhance public infrastructure conditions. The stakeholder will be the Environment and Forestry Agency, Department of Water Resources, PLN, Department of Transportation, Regional Development Agency, Expert Association, and private and or BUMN. The last, the monitoring and maintenance phase, to ensure the implementation of waterfront area development and the land use in the watershed area is right on the target. The stakeholder will be the Department of Human Settlements, Spatial Planning and Land, and Regional Development Agency. And from the 4 main phases, I divided it into more specific detail to restore the Ciliwung River function and relocation planning phase. The first is to establish the appropriate policy framework to preserve the remaining green area, explore various relocation mechanism, as the relocation will never be easy, and considering the normalization used to have the land acquisition issue. The third, establish public consultation to include the community input in the planning process. Actually, the public consultation already happened until now. Usually, Bappenas and related agencies will have this consultation, but Sometimes it is right not on the target. The fourth, establish an appropriate policy framework to conduct river normalization and river restoration and river rehabilitation program. Fifth, provide a blueprint for relocated and permanent settlement area to the public. Six, work with related agencies, ministries, or communities to execute river normalization, river restoration, and river rehabilitation agenda and to support community empowerment program. For the second phase, there are established public socialization to educate public about river rehabilitation and other efforts that could be done, and also establish training programs for the community in improving their economic and business knowledge, hard skill and soft skill, and provide a place to broaden their networking. For the third phase, about waterfront area development, the first open auction for the experts to design and plan the rejuvenation of legal riverbank settlement. This will also include the excitement and will also uh, benefit the community and the experts. Work with related agencies in enhancing public utility system. Open partnership opportunities for public or private companies in developing public space along the Ciliwung watershed area. Improve the supporting infrastructure like the road and the waterway condition. Review and revise the plan and framework of the public space development master plan and development of the public space. For the last, monitoring and maintenance phase, it will be achieved by increasing the capacity of internal governance bodies so the supervision and maintenance of the plan could be carried out right on target. I think that's all from me. This is my references. Thank you for the attention. If you have any comment, feedback, or input, I will kindly appreciate it, or even a new idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the very, very comprehensive presentation. It's a major leap from the draft that you sent me a couple of days ago. So major kudos for that. Let's see. I think my notes were my notes on your draft were about to explain the Spanish case study a bit further so that you can provide a context where the similarities are, and you've done that nicely. I think the only point that I can add to that in general, not just for your presentation but for everyone else as well, that in management, not only in urban management or project management, but in the management discipline overall. I think I may have mentioned this some time ago, or perhaps even in another subject, but I'll just remind you again that in management there are 4 stages in the management cycle. So the planning, organizing, actuating, and controlling. What Amira has presented here, what you've presented here, you've presented some of the planning, organizing, you've also anticipated the actuating stage, and you've mentioned a bit about the controlling mechanism. And so of all these four stages, the most complicated bit would be the actuating, would be the implementation of the strategy and the action plan, because I think no matter how well you prepare during the planning phase, and once after the planning phase, when you move on to the organizing phase, when you start to communicate with relevant stakeholders, with representatives of representatives from the public, from the citizens, or from the society that live along the river, or whatever project that you're involved in, to anticipate any possibilities during the actuation or implementation. There are some variables that there may be some variables that you didn't really account for, or you didn't really anticipate. because sometimes it just pops up. And most of the times it's easy enough to deal with that you can go back to organizing, go back to the organizing stage and talk to your stakeholders, and sort of rearrange things. But with an effort as immense as, say, for example, relocating. So you're displacing people who live along the river. You're relocating them, and then resettling them elsewhere. As we all know, that can go well, and sometimes it doesn't go too well. And there are a lot of factors and variables that influence the success of such programs. So I know I'm not going to ask you how big or what are the probabilities of success for your idea and such. No, I'm not going to ask you that, but just giving you an illustration that it's an immense task. The environmental aspects and everything else can be engineered, and when you're dealing with engineering models, you can run as many tests as you want, but with relocating people, people being very, very unpredictable, they can be very unpredictable. You can't simply run models and hope for your approach to be successful first go. With controlling, I agree that institutional capacities need to be addressed. Although, to be fair, I think our institutional capacities are okay. I think the only hindrance to our public institutions is that they have too many administrative load. And I think it's the bureaucratic culture as well that may impede the controlling mechanism. And of course, being public institutions, then sometimes political will also come into play. Okay, once again, thank you very much for preparing and presenting your strategic and action plans. It's very, very comprehensive, and I have to say that you have set the standard or the bar quite high for your peers. Let's see if anyone else. Let's see if anyone in the class has any questions or comments with regards to the ideas that you just presented. Anyone? Anyone living along the Ciliwung River area? No? If not, then I guess all you need to do now, Amira, is to convert your slides into a draft manuscript that details the case study introduction all the way to the proposed strategy and action plans. Once again, thank you very much for sharing your ideas with us today. You may end your session now. I do have something to share with you all. Right, hang on, just let me get this. I'd like to share this with you. This small announcement before we conclude our session. So for those of you who haven't marked your attendance, There's the QR code again. Otherwise, I can see that pretty much all of you or most of you are here already. So then I can mark your attendance manually. That's fine. But here are a few announcements that I'd like to make. With regards to our next steps forward. Where is it? There we are. So I have added one part or one tiny section here. It's called the case study introduction presentations, for you to submit your presentation slides here. Please do submit them in PDF file format. The case study introduction presentations just will allow me to easily assess your will easily allow me to access, or will allow me to assess your first evaluation component easily. So please submit your slides through this link. It's under the access section. And then for the first draft submission, which is underneath the landing page or the general information, that's where you submit your essay manuscript. So the essays should be submitted in the first draft submission. That is for the case study introduction portion only. And so far, I haven't checked today, but the last time I checked, out of 11, 6 of you have submitted. So we're still missing 5. Still missing 5 submissions or 5 manuscripts. So hurry up and do so that I can begin grading your submissions. File format again, PDF. Now, for this draft, for the second draft, where you present your strategic and action plan, the plausible solution and strategic and action plans, please do so through the peer review workshop section under the access section. The peer review workshop itself will take place on week 15. So you can submit your work, you can submit your manuscript. You can submit your manuscript at the latest on Sunday. So on at the end of week 14. So on the Sunday ending at the end of week 14. So so of course, after you present your strategic and action plans, as Amira just did, you can revise your manuscript accordingly if there are any feedbacks. If there are any feedbacks or comments from the presentation, and then you can proceed to submitting your manuscript in the peer review workshop. The link is called Final Draft Review. Now, what can you expect from there? Currently the peer review workshop is in the setup phase. I have just edited the assessment form. I might show you the assessment form a little later on. I have edited the assessment form, and I'm ready to switch the workshop to the next phase, to the submission phase. So once it's in the submission phase, you will be able to submit your manuscripts, and then once everybody has submitted their manuscripts, I can allocate the submissions. I can allocate your submission to your classmates for them to review, and their work to you for you to review, vice versa. The assessment form or the grading criteria, I've set them all up. So all you need to do is just check the boxes, whether all you need to do is make sure whether the manuscript that you're reading has all the has checked all the boxes. And then once the assessment phase is done, once you've all done the checkbox marking, the system will then continue to will continue to the grading evaluation phase, where they calculate the grades that you give your friends, and then afterwards. I'll provide a conclusion to the activity, and then subsequently close the workshop. So what do you do after you receive your graded draft? If you're pleased with the score that your friends have given you, then you can submit the manuscript as is at week 16. If you feel like there are some feedbacks that if you feel that you can still improve your manuscript, then you may do so between the closing of the workshop at the end of week 15 until the end of week 16. Right. What else is there? So yeah, final submission. The final draft submission link is right under the welcome page, or right under the welcome section. You should submit your final draft after the workshop. So submit it along week 16. You should submit the final essay manuscript again in PDF format. Right, so I think that's the end of my slides. Have I made myself clear, or is there anything that needs to, or do I still need to clarify some things?
May I ask?
Absolutely.
For the initial draft submission, actually, since I have done the final draft, no, the PowerPoint. Actually, I use the same file, so I don't have the first presentation. Is it okay to collect the newest one, the introduction, since I've done some revision of my first first introduction presentation?
Okay. For those of you, right. That's okay. For those of you who have, or for those of you who built your presentation up from the previous presentation to the newer presentation, you don't have to make a new one. That's okay. Just plop it in the in that link. So no problems, not a problem. I understand that. I understand that this is a sort of like a last minute. This is a sort of like a last minute decision that I made. So if any of you are like, I don't want to make two separate files for my presentation. I want to build on the previous one. That's okay. Regardless of how you're approaching it, you can just submit your presentations through that link. Or maybe I should just change the heading so that it doesn't cause any more confusion. So presentation slides, just submit your presentation slides through that link.
Okay, thank you, sir.
No worries. Right. Anything else? While I'm here, if I haven't timed out from my from Classroom. I'll show you how the assessment form looks like. So I can preview. All right, there. So this is how the assessment form will look like. So, for example, for the introduction part of the essay, how does the essay introduce the case study locality? Then, if I think this is an ascending hang on. Oh yeah, that's right. It's in ascending. So if you choose the left options. So for example, the first option here, the essay provides very limited description of the case study location, limited information relevant to the chosen theme, then that is the lowest score. And on the contrary, to the right-hand side of the screen, then it's the higher score. I think the interval goes like 180, 60, 40, 20, and then 10. Somehow I can't bring myself to give anyone a 0, so I just made it 10. So all you need to do is choose whether the introduction, which level of detail the introduction or the author, the introduction provides. How is the issue identified? How is the issue explained? Same here, same here, choose whichever plausible solutions. How is the strategic plan presented in the essay? And so on and so forth. Now, coming down to the references and document format, it's not as detailed, I think, as the previous sections, but in principle, they all follow the same. Pattern. So the lower scores to the left, the higher scores to the right, and then that is it. Hang on. The edited form, and I guess I can confidently switch the workshop into the submission phase. Continue. Now, these are my homework. Provide you instructions for assessment, and then allocate submissions, and so on and so on. So yeah. Once you're comfortable with your draft, you can consult your draft with me before submitting to the final draft review. So after your presentation, if you want to consult with me again, I would advise you do so before submitting to the final to this workshop. Right. No, I would suggest not to submit in. I would suggest you not to submit in Word document because then the system, if any of your friends who is going to assess your work, if they're going to access your file, then the system forces them to download the file. So with the PDF. They have the option to review it directly through the browser, or download the submission instead. So having more options is better. Right. I think that's all I have with the announcements this week. Moving on to the second half of this semester. If there's anything that I need to clarify once we get the workshop module rolling, if there's anything that I need to clarify, or if there's anything that you're unsure of, you can ask me directly. Yeah. So I think we're all set. Anyone else? Does anyone have any questions or anything that they're unsure of so far? Cool. Right. Well, thank you for joining me in for this week's urban management session. Thank you once again, Amira, for sharing your ideas with you. I look forward to the next to the coming weeks, where you all take turns in sharing your ideas with me and the rest of the class. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Have fun preparing for iftar if you happen to be fasting as well. And see you all next week. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stay safe and stay well.